Have you ever seen the article saying that humans have a worse attention span than a goldfish? Yes? No? Well, it doesn't matter as it's not true. It's something else that makes it seem like that. TikTok or YouTube Shorts won't improve your attention span, but it also won't make it as bad as a goldfish. So why does it seem like it's being ruined? The simple answer is that creators and algorithms have gotten really good at keeping your attention. Look no further than the NPC trend. It is subjectively stupid content, but you can't stop watching it. This is the attention war all platforms are fighting for, and video games are not excluded from this. In fact, you could argue that they have even worse intentions than Instagram or Twitter. Gaming companies have long realized that they need their games to steal attention away from other media platforms. More players equals more money for their games, so how do they keep you on it? And why does keeping you on the game make them money? Some are just little things like having hit markers or sound effects. Others may be forcing you to experience FOMO through battle passes. These little tricks might make you think that you're having fun, but in reality, it is your brain being manipulated by these games. The focus on making video games has shifted over the years, and let me preface that making video games is extremely hard. I respect the hell out of game devs, but that doesn't mean I can't question their intentions. This video is going to be focused on mainly AAA games, but it'll have a sprinkle of indies. Any successful indie game is the cream of the crop, standing on top of thousands of dead games to get where they are. AAA games, on the other hand, have standards they're supposed to meet from fans and their corporate overlords. This might mean the game needs patchwork when it first comes out, or they have a certain budget they must make back in sales. This puts a lot of pressures on the team to make a game that people want to play and also make money. Devs have to juggle keeping players happy and their bosses happy, as time crunches are a notorious part of game development. So what's the solution? I'd argue the solution is to create games with minimal risk and keep them as broad as possible. If you're watching this video, you've probably come across countless other video essays talking about how gaming is stale or gaming is not the same anymore. Most are just people clamoring about how games suck and are not fun. I have two things I want to say about that. One, you need to expand what you play and try new games or genres. And two, they're correct. Games aren't made to be fun anymore. They're made to be addicting, and they're made to make you want to win. Think back to being a kid. You were probably just enjoying life, playing Pokemon on the couch and trying to catch your favorite legendary. Compare that to now. You probably have a $2,000 PC, queued up on League of Legends, and drinking Red Bull at 2 in the morning. Does that sound like somebody playing a video game to have fun, or does that sound like somebody with a video game addiction? I'm not faulting anyone for falling victim to the addictive nature of video games. I've been there myself. Understanding how these games reel you in can be very beneficial in overcoming it. Just knowing tricks games use can be eye-opening. All popular games are addictive in some manner, whether that be a great story or satisfying gunplay. Speaking of gunplay, why do you play games like Call of Duty? Are you trying to scratch the nostalgia itch? Maybe you enjoy getting on top of the leaderboard. Or you're brainwashed into thinking that Call of Duty is fun. No matter the reason, it is not because COD is good anymore. At best, the game gives you the same feeling as watching this. Everything is calculated when making Call of Duties, even the ones from a decade ago. The movement is smooth, the guns sound good, shit, even the damn announcer sounds great.
You're all that remains. Finish the mission.
There's a reason why Call of Duty has one of the biggest games every year. The difference between the new ones and the older ones comes down to the nostalgia factor. When you play Vanguard or Cold War, deep down inside, you're looking for that feeling of playing BO2 for the first time. But that will never come, resulting in you chasing this feeling that is just out of reach. Another game that abuses this feeling is Pokemon. I love Pokemon, but even after I bought Scarlet and Violet, there was still something that didn't feel right to me. Almost like there was a piece of the puzzle that was missing. And no, I'm not referring to the bugs. So I kept playing it, eventually finished the post-game stuff, and realized, wow, why did I play that? If the DLC came out sooner, I would have bought it in a heartbeat. But now that it's been over half a year, I have no desire to buy it. To me, this proves I wasn't really playing the game out of fun, but I played it to retreat the kid inside of me. And the Pokemon Company knows this. as they're trying to bring back that feeling by including the original starters in their marketing for that same DLC. Okay, so we know nostalgia is a good way to keep people playing games, but what are some others? Let's take Rocket League. It's soccer with cars, a very unique and creative game. Watch this sequence and tell me this doesn't look fun. While watching that, did you notice anything? It'll be obvious when I tell you, but it's something that just feels right. Any guesses? It's the point system. More specifically, the big on-screen pop-ups. Every game has some version of this, but I think Rocket League does it the best. No matter how bad you are at the game, you will be rewarded for doing something good. If you'd studied psychology before, then you probably recognize this. It's known as positive reinforcement. Basically, you get rewarded for doing something good, like giving a dog a treat when they sit on command. Do this enough times and you will become conditioned to create those little dopamine hits from the rewards. This isn't to say you don't necessarily enjoy playing these games, but over time, the reasons for wanting to play them deviate from what your original purpose was. And that is what these games aim for. Take League of Legends. You start off by playing a game because a friend wanted you to play with them. So you cave in and download the Riot client and download the free-to-play game. The first game goes horribly, everything is moving too fast to learn anything, you get destroyed by enemy champions, and hell, the controls don't even make sense. If you give up, fine, that's the end of that story. But your friend wants to keep playing, so you fall to peer pressure and start the grind. The first couple days you only play with your friends, and you start to win a couple matches. You can't end on a lose streak, but you also want to play until you lose. So you have a couple late nights playing. Then during one school day, you start to study the meta on Reddit. Eventually, that turns into really studying the meta all the time. One night your friends can't play, so you play by yourself. Realizing you can grind the game to get better at it, you can be the cool kid and surprise everybody. Finally, by the time you're really good at the game, none of your friends play it anymore. But you just bought a $20 skin, so you keep grinding rank to justify your purchase. Over time, League becomes the most important activity in your life. You don't talk to people, you don't go outside, you just play League, sinking in hours and money in order to reach Challenger to see that great animation. This is too common of a story, and it isn't just League. Companies eat this up. They get good numbers to show investors, and dedicated fans to drop money on their new stuff. You can switch the name League with any game and you'll get the same thing. Look at Fortnite. Kids drop stupid money on skins and emotes. It's a gross practice by companies to milk money from kids. If you have your own money, then fine, you can buy what you want with it, I don't really care. But if you're preying on 14-year-olds stealing their parents' credit card to buy Optimus Prime or Naruto in Fortnite, then that takes it a little too far. I will say, at least Epic Games puts in the effort to change Fortnite. I look across the aisle and you have EA, selling the same couple games every year, making a fortune along the way. Just Ultimate Team alone makes them easily over $1 billion. People are so addicted to FIFA or Madden that they spend hundreds of dollars on cards that become obsolete within a couple months. This doesn't even add in the $70 price tag. These games are essentially a glorified version of baseball card collecting, except it is virtual and it resets on a yearly basis. These sports games are a gold mine. They combine the near-miss effect, the variable rate reinforcement, and the collector's mentality. The near-miss effect is something like this.
Come on! Ah, I got Ebola. Fuck's sake.
It's exactly as it's called. This makes you believe you are close to getting something good and will get that something soon, making you yearn for more packs. The variable rate reinforcement is just fancy jargon for loot boxes. It means that rather than giving the player a straight-up gold card, the player will be more tempted to buy a pack where they have a chance of getting an elite card, but also the chance of getting a bronze card. The collector's mentality is just a mindset that is created when you want a cool shiny item, no matter how much the cost is. This will net you bragging rights and that sweet, sweet dopamine. What is the benefit of the system being like this? Well, you can buy in-game currency or grind to earn it. To the time when you actually play, it sucks. Playing Madden or FIFA feels like a job just to get enough coins to open up a pack. So you can just pay to win and skip all the boring crap. What even is the appeal of getting a good team? I don't know, maybe you can answer that for me in the comments. I'm not going to skip over the rest of Fortnite's addictive nature. Some of my favorite gaming moments were during the first year of Fortnite. It had a great art style, very bright colors, and a skill gap with building. This was before Epic Games realized they made a money tree. Once they saw no one really cared about the PvE mode, they dove 100% into the Battle Royale side of things. And with that came the degeneracy from fans. Fortnite didn't come up with the idea for a Battle Pass, that honor belongs to Dota 2. But they did popularize it. The Battle Pass is a great way to incentivize players to grind the game, or they can take the easy route and just spend money to unlock levels. Either way, it's a win-win for the company. Creating this incentive is just part of the strategy to keep players hooked. The other tactics used are chests and that big Victory Royale pop-up, which is even better than a Rocket League goal. Every time you go into a game of Fortnite, you scour the map for chests like Tyrone Biggums in order to see that beautiful gold scar. I know that sound just made you excited. This combined with the rush of being in a 1v2 situation at the end of the game, eventually winning it, and then you get greeted with this. After a couple more of those, you start to play the game for that rush and not so much for it being fun. I've rambled on enough about tactics and tricks used to hook you, and I could keep you here for over an hour plus rattling them off, but let me just clarify my thoughts. Games are fun in nature, but over time, it is easy to become addicted to the feeling games evoke. And once you're stuck in this loop, it can and will hurt you. Don't get it twisted, gaming companies are there to make money, and they view you as a number to provide them with money. It's a harsh truth, and one that's often overlooked by a lot of people. Now that I painted game devs as evil, let me shine a light on the story, and something that you've probably been yelling at me about. Not all games are made maliciously, and some actually care about their image and product. But they are forced to do this because their brand is built on their reputation. If given the option, I'm sure these companies would choose the cheaper route. Companies like Nintendo and Sony sell a lot of games because they come with the expectations of a great product. Typically, it's a working game at launch, and other than the original price tag, there are no extra costs. Ignoring speedrunners, people play these games for a different purpose. There aren't outside forces attempting to sell you something or keep you playing. This is because once you buy the game, it doesn't really matter what you do with it. Now yes, they need a good game that is addicting because word-of-mouth marketing is a thing. Would you want to spend $40 on a game with reviews like this? Or would you want to buy something with ones like this? And just because something's a single-player game doesn't mean it can't be addicting. Let me use the example of Elden Ring. It's one of my favorite games ever, and I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't addicted to it while I was playing it. But it's addicting in a different way compared to the multiplayer games. It's addicting in the way that fighting games are, a hard challenge to overcome, and there's no better feeling than the relief of beating one of these tough challenges. Now, I'm not going to sit here and compare Elden Ring to Only Up, but with the former, there's a grand story with history and awesome characters. But at the end of the day, the best part about the game is getting destroyed by bosses and bashing your head in until you beat it. Although this game is addictive, the reason you play a Souls game is for yourself, not to get a higher score or get a Victory Royale pop-up on the screen. It is purely for your enjoyment. No one other than yourself really cares if you beat one of these games. Another new game like this is Baldur's Gate 3. It is technically an indie game, but it is of AAA quality, so I'm including it in here. The full game launched 2 weeks ago, with early access being available for a while now. It is another game where you can get lost in the lore and story with some difficult challenges to overcome. The game gives a scary amount of freedom, so no two playthroughs will be the same. The reason for playing an RPG like this is to immerse yourself in this world, escaping reality for some time. But this time you're escaping because of a captivating story, not some impossible wish to be a kid again. This is a one-of-a-kind game that doesn't come around often, so it is a little unfair to compare this to something like Pokemon. But my point still stands. And look, if you use this logic for everything, then nothing's technically fun. The difference between modern-day gaming and something like going on a bike ride can't be compared. The difference is in where the enjoyment comes from. Video games are designed to artificially stimulate you with bright, shiny things and cool sounds. Riding a bike doesn't provide nearly as much stimulation, so it's perceived as less fun. If you look at it from another angle, too much stimulation for one thing will make everything else seem dull. In other words, game devs need to make video games more and more stimulating for players who are in that web. That is why you don't enjoy gaming, you crave gaming. The next time you play your favorite game, ask yourself this question: what makes this game fun? Thanks for watching and make sure to subscribe.